You dress up for nightlife like you do anywhere else. Usually women don't have to pay fees in places where I have gone to. So
yeah, not the case in Barbados. Everybody pays. Everybody pays. I realized
Barbados.
Why? Is that a good thing to you? Because it's equal?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways.
All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanna Sergio Hatagua. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living in West Africa. And today I'm in the US and I'm with a very special guest.
Chazeen. Hey y'all.
Chazeen and I are gonna do part 2 to the video we did about the similarities and differences between Barbados and Ghana and what it's like for us being culturally American, spending a bunch of time there. Before we get into it, can we do a little bit of an introduction to you, Chazeen, who you are and what your channel is about?
Yeah, so I'm a TV producer and my channel is focused on sharing my life and the hacks and tips that I pick up along the way. So that's everything from tips for new influencers, because I am an influencer, and then travel hacks and tips on everything from lifestyle-wise, beauty to home design. So go ahead and check out my channel because game-changing tips, y'all, I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. I've learned a lot actually from Cece. She's taken a lot of courses. I've learned a lot from Chazeen, put it down. And then also, before we get into this, we're talking about Barbados and Ghana. You actually spent some time in Barbados, right?
Yep, 4 months.
4 months in Barbados. So basically it's like living there, right? It's not like a little vacation, right?
No.
4 months gives you a real good idea of what it's like there. So we're gonna go through some more tips and things that we've learned along the way. So let's get into it. All right, cool. So the first thing we're gonna talk about on this part 2 is nightlife. What you can expect with nightlife in our two countries, the respective countries that we were in. Yeah. So for me, as it pertains to Ghana, I think one thing that I will mention is you dress up for nightlife like you do anywhere else, right? You're not wearing sweatpants. Some people can wear hats. That's a different thing. Like you can wear hats, you can wear jeans.
What kind of hats are these?
Like you can wear a fitted hat or like even a dad hat,
Okay.
But you can't wear shorts to a lot of places,
okay.
Right? So there are a bunch of places that will stop you if you try to wear shorts, but most places will allow you to wear a hat. You just need to be presentable and look like you're about to go out somewhere nice, right? And then in terms of going out, a lot of places do have a cover charge to get in.
Okay.
So there are definitely some places that have that, but overall, I think what is it, like equivalent to like $5 or whatever it might be. So it's not like you're spending $40 or whatever to get into somewhere, but there are going to be times where you have to pay to get in. But there are other places that you can go, never have to pay to get in, but you also want to make reservations. So we talked about dinner making reservations. Some of these places are dinner places that turn into like nightlife spots.
Yeah.
You definitely want to call ahead of time to have yourself a table. Whether you have to buy a bottle or not, some places you don't have to, it doesn't require you buying a bottle, but you do need to have your own table. I definitely recommend it because standing around in an open space is not ideal. So definitely call ahead and make sure you get a table. What is it like in Barbados?
Okay, so restaurants, most places, I think people, when they go out to go to the restaurants. If your plan is to transition to like a lounge or something like that, you definitely want to start out the night later. So you probably do dinner. For my birthday, we did dinner around 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we went across the street to Jamestown to listen to some music and dance, but it's not always a fee. It really depends on the night. And if there's a fee, I would say like what I discovered was like $5, $10.
Okay.
But I only was asked to pay a fee once. Now, if you're going to a fete, the fete's gonna be expensive. They might be like $50 US, $100 US, but those are one-off events.
And you know what? Just to add a piece to it, usually women don't have to pay fees in places where I have gone to, right? So I went to Twist nightclub. Yeah, that Twist nightclub. I had to pay, but the girls didn't have to pay. So there's been a couple places that we've gone where they charge, but the women didn't have to pay, but the guys did. So
yeah, not the case in Barbados. Everybody pays. Everybody pays. There might be a different fee, and it's like a difference of $10. Like I've seen that throughout the Caribbean, but no, everybody pays. I realized
Shout out to Barbados.
Why is that a good thing to you? Because it's equal?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, real West Indian strooping your teeth. All right, so fetes. I realize some people might not know what a fete is. A fete is a party, basically. That's their word, what they use for a party.
Yeah, I was not aware, so I just learned something new.
Oh, well, look at her.
The more you know.
Oh, but I will say this, nightlife mostly happens in Barbados on the strips. It's in the South Coast, Christchurch, it's in St. Lawrence Gap. And then I told you on the West Coast, St. James, Pole Town is the name of the area where there's things to do. But I think it primarily consists of restaurants and then like kind of bars, situations, not so much like club, lounge. There's just a few of those that are known. It's like 4 of those.
Yeah, there's plenty of nightlife. I mean, there are lounges, there are bars, there are clubs. I tend to do the more loungy things, but when my friends come from out of town, they always want to do the club, so we do the club thing. But yeah, I mean, there are plenty of good lounges for sure. There's a place called Exhale. Definitely recommend it. Nice outdoor atmosphere. The music is a good vibe. The people are a good vibe. The food is pretty good, and people tend to love the drinks. So definitely recommend Exhale when you're in Accra, Ghana, for sure.
Is the definition of a club there the same as here?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say, so Twist is a good example where they have the tables. DeVito was there one night. He came with his crew, a bunch of people. He had security. His security is next level. These guys cover their faces, where you can only see their eyes.
Oh.
That kind of thing. And they carry like
guns?
Like serious size, big size guns. Yeah, so they walk around. It's not a game. And they walk around the club. But anyway, you have clubs, you have the tables, and then you have general population like anywhere else. These days, I do general population. Unless I got a group of people who want to chip in.
To spend our money on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless we have a group of people that want to chip in, then we'll get a table. But I don't really do the club thing anyway because
my man here is investing in property in Sierra Leone, building a house.
Absolutely,
what?
yes.
What?
So yeah, I don't do the bottle thing at the clubs anymore. But you can definitely do that if you want to, and it will cost you. It's kind of like that on the same scale. So you're not gonna spend like $500 for a bottle, but you might spend like $150 for a bottle or whatever. So it's on a lower scale, but it's still way more than it would be if you didn't buy a bottle.
I'll say this, the interesting thing I've noticed about international artists is like the way you described what DeVito's security looks like in Africa. I'm pretty sure like he only has like one person around when he if he came into the offices and I was to do an interview with him. So it's crazy to see the difference. But it makes sense. He's more popular there. But yeah, it's just so interesting to see the difference in things.
Oh yeah. I mean, first of all, I've been many places where there have been many celebrities and I've never seen anyone with like armed security like that.
I've never seen that either.
And most security like retired police officers. You know what I mean? This guy, you could tell like he was military. And the guys he had were all like 6'3" and above, like big guys. They weren't small guys. Don't mess with them.
No.
All right, so the next topic we're gonna talk about is making friends. The difficulties or the easy parts of making friends. I will say, Ghanaians, I don't want to speak for the whole country and everyone, so for those of you who this doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. But Ghanaians tend to be cliquish. They have their groups of friends, they went to high school together, they went to university together, they have their cliques and their crews. So my group of friends are mostly diasporans. We're all Africans, but who have lived elsewhere. So we have Nigerians, we have, people from Zimbabwe, me as a Sierra Leonean American. We have people from Ivorian, from Ivory Coast. So our crew is like a diverse group of other Africans who are always kind of getting together. I do have some Ghanaian friends as well, people that I've met through work, but I found it easier to meet non-Ghanaians because we're all kind of experiencing the same thing.
That makes sense.
And we all came to Ghana with the same purpose, even though we came from other places. Whereas Ghanaians are living in their country as they always have been, whereas the rest of us are there for a different kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we're all on the same accord. So our conversations tend to be ones that we're all involved in and all very passionate about. Whereas when I meet Ghanaians, some of those things are interesting to them, but their life has been based around that country. So it's not the same as the conversations that I have with some of my friends.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I would say mine is similar to that, but okay, here's the interesting thing. I've heard people say that Bajans are cliquish. I can't speak to that because when I went there the first time, I went on vacation for a week. And a great friend of mine, shout outs to you, Jamar, had connected me with Senor Russell. Shout out to you, sir. And I just met a lot of the people that I know through those introductions. Okay. And they were locals. So I haven't experienced them being cliquish, but then on the other note, I've befriended a lot of expats. And that is because of everything that you mentioned, the similarities and just the fact that we can relate on a lot of things.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I mean, my best advice that I can offer, and I've said this in my videos, definitely check that out, is to, one, before you even go to the country, like join those expat groups. If you find them on Facebook, befriend people. If there's someone you have a similarity with, like connect on that level. I met a couple of influencers out there, YouTubers. Right. We connected on that. Producers. we connected on that. You know what I'm saying? Mutual friends, etc. When you add someone on Instagram, you can see who you have mutual friends with, friendships with. And now that I think about it, I realize that's another thing that kind of helped, almost as weird as it sounds, I guess, seal the deal with certain relationships, because it was also a conversation starter. Like, let me add you on Instagram. Wait, how do you know like 20 other people that I know on the island? What in the world? I mean, honestly, I would want to hear the story behind that too. So we just moved to New York and we had 20 friends in common. So like, yeah, I mean, the best thing I can say is like get the process started and then just continue hanging out with that person. They'll introduce you to their friends, etc., etc. Just has a domino effect from there.
Yeah, and I will say that that's actually every new city that I moved to, someone that I became cool with, because I'm friends with them, you're generally going to be friendly with their friend group, and that becomes your friend group. Yeah. So like in LA, I had a crew. In New York, I have a crew, but I went to school here. You know, I went to college here. But in Sierra Leone, I have a crew, and in Ghana, I have a crew, and that all came to fruition through one individual who had a group of friends. So I would definitely recommend, you know, if you find somebody you're cool with, hang out with them and their friends, and then you'll be able to develop a friendship circle. Yeah,
I think the key is people who have other friends though too. I just realized, because if they don't have other friends and you're just, it's like you and one other person, that's
just one-on-one.
You're just gonna meet that other person, and so try to diversify. Yeah. And I think just get out there and have conversations with people, right? Like that's what networking is about. And I hate placing the word networking or aligning it with friendship, because I don't want it to be that calculated, but it really is the same principles that are applied. I think we just don't think as deeply about them. Yeah. Maybe for you and I, because we're so deep into the business aspects of our lives, they just carry over unknowingly. Right. And create those great friendships.
Yeah, and then I guess the last thing I'll say is, in the very beginning, you're gonna have to go out more than you might normally go out, because that's how you develop those relationships, through memories and through conversations, right? Yeah. If you go out sporadically, like I was, the whole first year, same thing happened when I lived in LA. That whole first year, it just didn't feel like I was getting ingratiated with culture and meeting people, but it was because I wasn't doing enough going out.
I didn't even think about that. You just made me give myself grace for good, because I was kind of out. And when we say out, we don't mean like the clubs, because there's no opportunity to really talk to people. You might, but like how deep is your conversation going to be really when the music is blasting? Just being out in present, whether that be festivals, restaurants,
games, like, you know, soccer games or football games. Or like a couple of my friends do after work drinks a lot. Right. So I go meet up with them. Even though I don't drink, I'll do the after work drinks and hang out, and just like, it just allows you, like I said, to develop memories. And as you develop memories, that builds stronger bonds and friendships. And so then you can kind of scale back if you want to over time, if you don't feel like you want to go out as often.
That's so real. I hope that was helpful, y'all. If that was helpful, go ahead and click that like button. A matter of fact, drop a comment and let us know which tip in particular was the most helpful for you when it comes to making friends.
And the last one is Sundays. So what about Sundays, right? Specifically in Ghana, Ghanaians are very religious. And so what you have is almost everyone goes to church on Sunday, regardless of the person. So you might know some people who are wild on Saturday night and they're repenting for their sins on Sunday morning. But almost everyone goes to church on Sunday. And so that means that there's nothing open before 1 p.m. except for the Chinese established businesses. But everybody else is closed on Sunday morning, and some people are closed all Sunday long. So, you know, you think about your Chick-fil-A's out there here in the United States, and you guys are not happy that Chick-fil-A is not open on Sundays. Imagine most businesses operating under that same process, right? If it's a Sunday, don't expect anything to be open before 1 and maybe not even 2 p.m. I don't know. That's what it is in Ghana. It's not like that in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone, pretty much everything is open, whatever day is open. But I did notice that in Ghana, it's a very different place to be. So that's Ghana. What is it like in Barbados?
So in Barbados, honestly, I probably would have fit in perfectly with Ghana, because I just went to church and the beach like on Sundays. So, but it is my understanding that the hours are not the same on Sundays. Okay. So I know I've seen the advice to get all of your tasks that you need to get done on the other days and kind of rest on Sunday, because they'll have different hours, or some places might be closed. So that's some advice for y'all.
Yes. So remember that when you go in there, don't think that you're going to be able to run many errands on a Sunday. Just assume that things are going to be closed. You'll be lucky if it's open. So if you have everything you want to do it during the week and maybe on Saturdays, because Sundays you're going to be out of luck.
Yeah, y'all.
Banks are not open on Sundays.
I think banks probably are not open on Sundays. Yeah. I would be surprised.
So weekdays, that's where you get everything done. All right, guys, so that wraps up the differences and similarities between Barbados and Ghana. Of course, you can find Chazeen, and all her information is going to be below in the description. She has a YouTube channel. She's on Instagram, heavy on Instagram for sure. So make sure you catch up with Chazeen and check out her content. Part 1 of our video is going to be on Chazeen's page, so make sure you go and check that out. But first, before you do that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel before you head over to Chazeen's channel to check out her content. And with that, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you all in the next video. All right, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, like, comment, and share it with your friends. All right, see you on the next video.